Hello, greeting guys, greetings to you all. You are welcome back to my channel. It's Next Solution. Uh, in this video, I want to share with you guys the 7 common error message we receive in Python programming. The 7 common error message, why we received it, and how to resolve it. Okay, I will show you guys how you can do that in this video. It's all about the error message you do receive in programming language, why we receive it, and how to resolve it. I will explain to you guys each by each, okay, one by one. Okay, now let us proceed to the error message. If you are new to my channel, please click on subscribe button to encourage me the more, and also share my video so it can get to many people and then help them in their programming language. Syntax error. Okay, syntax errors in Python. Syntax error occur when you have a typo or other mistake in your code that cause it to be invalid syntax. When you have a typo error or other mistakes in your code, okay, that cause it to be invalid syntax, these errors are usually caught by Python's interpreter when you try to run the code. Okay, now let's move on to the example. Here is the example. If s equals to 10, print s is greater than 10. Okay, here let's run it and see what error message will give us. You can see here syntax error. Syntax error. This is a message it gives us. Okay, in this example, we are trying to assign the value 10 to the variable s using the assignment operator inside an if statement. Hope you understand. In this example, we are trying to assign the value 10 to the variable s inside an if statement. While on if statement, we don't assign a number. Rather, this equals to here should be double equals to to correct the error. Okay, once you try to assign a value into a variable using if statement, it will give you a syntax error. Okay, but the correct syntax for comparing values in an if statement is to use the comparison operator. The comparison operator is double equals to. Now, once I make this double equals to, once I make it double equals to, the error has stopped. Okay, let's say s. Let's say s equals to 5. Then run the program. Okay, as you can see, it works without showing us error message. Although it didn't print out anything, I'm not here to code for you. I'm not here to show you how to code. I'm here to show you the common error messages, and then why you receive the message and how to resolve it. Okay, now you don't have the message again, you don't have the error message again. If I still remove one of these equals to, remember 2 equals to, these two signs means equals to. The two signs means equals to. But once you use only one, it means assignment, assigning a value inside a variable. So for now, this means assigning a value inside a variable. And once if statement is there, you don't assign an if statement. If we still try to run this again, it shows syntax error. But once we makes it equals to, the program will run without any error message. You can see here process finished with exit code 0. So the next one here is indentation errors in Python. Indentation errors in Python. One of the common errors in Python is indentation errors. Unlike many other programming languages, Python uses white space to indicate block of code. So proper indentation is critical. Python uses white space to indicate block of code. So proper indentation is critical. Okay. Now, once I'm writing a block of code, and then where indentation is needed, once you did not indentate, once you did not indent on the proper place where you need an indentation, Python will not understand what you are saying, and then it will pop up an error message. Okay, back to here. Here are a few rules to keep in mind when it comes to indentation in Python. Okay, here are a few rules to keep in mind when it comes to indentation in Python. One, use four space for each level of indentation. Okay, now what it means by use four space, let me explain for you. Here I have wrote this code for I in range 10. Let's assume I was not giving space. There was no space there, and then I don't know how to to indent. Okay, now what you have to do is use four space. Count one, two, three, four. Okay, now write in your code, and the indent is fully and okay. Once it's not up to four space, there will still be an error message. It must be up to four space. Okay, now that is how indentation works, and then we have to work towards it. Okay, now the next one says don't miss tabs and spaces for indentation. Don't miss tabs and spaces. In case if you don't want to use space, the easiest way is to just use tab. Okay, let me assume that the space was not given to me. What I have to do here is to just click on tab on your keyboard, and automatically it will indent the space. Okay, now the next one there is make sure your indentation is consistent through your code. Make sure your indentation is consistent through your code. Okay, now to avoid indentation errors, it's a good idea to use a code editor that supports automatic indentation such as PyCharm or Visual Studio. Okay, now let us move to example like this. Okay, now indentation errors. If I write a code for I in range 10, print I. Okay, now what happens if I run this code? If I run this code, it will show me an error message because there was no indentation here, and then Python will not be able to understand. See what it shows me here: indentation error. Expected an indented block after four statements. Okay, expected an indented block after four statements. Okay, it expects you to add an indentation after four statement. Here is the four statement. Indentation, either you click space one, two, three, four, or you just click on tab. Okay, now let's see the error message. Let's see if the error message will disappear. Okay, now as you can see, it didn't give me any other error message, rather it runs successful. This is how indentation works. Now the next one here is name errors in Python. Name errors in Python. Name errors occurs when you try to use a variable or function that hasn't been defined. It occurs when you are trying to use a variable or function, when you are trying to make use of a variable that has not been defined, that has not been added an operation upon. For example, if you try to print the value of a variable that hasn't been assigned a value yet, okay, you get an error message. Okay, you understand? Hope you understand. If you try to uh, 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 do something, make use of a variable that has not been defined, it gives you an error message. Okay, example for here, we said for I in range 10, print I. This I is now a variable. Okay, now print the variable I. Let's assume that I added S. As you can see, S is not defined yet. There's nothing like S here. S has not been defined. Okay, if I say print S, it will show me name error. Okay, name s is not defined because there's nothing like s here. I've not added anything to s and I want to print s, so it will show me error message. Let's assume there was s. Let me say s is equals to 10. Okay, s equals to 10. Let's run it and then see the message. Okay, now you see it runs, it works. Okay, it works because the s has now been defined, a value has been added to s. Had it been that there was no value on s, it will show me error message. There were no value on s, it will show me error message. Okay, it shows me name error. Okay, now let's just put s as a variable without a value. Okay, without a value, just ordinary s without value. Let's see what will happen there. It still shows me name error. Name s is not defined because no value has been added to s. Okay, now back to our class. Here are some tips for avoiding error message. Make sure you've defined all variables and functions before using them, which is what I just showed you guys here. Make sure you define a variable or function. Make sure you have added a value to it before using them. Okay. Now, second thing you have to have in mind is double check the spelling and capitalization of your variable and function names. Double check the spelling because spelling matters and capitalization matters. If at all you spelled, let me say, come, come equals to let me say come is equals to 10. Okay, now I want to use com and use capital letter on the first one. They are not the same, they aren't the same because in Python they are case sentence. Okay, they are case sentence. Once you use small letter here, you must use small letter on the next one. Here I use capital letter. There's nothing like that. They both are not same, the both are not same. Okay, as you can see here, it marks it red. The both are not same. So make sure you are sure of what you are doing, and then be sure and then double check your spellings. Okay, use Python built-in debugging tools such as print statements to help you track down name errors. Example. Okay, now let me show you guys more example. Here is a variable I created. My variable is equals to 5. Then print my variable. Now check here, the both spellings are not the same. This is variable and this is almost the same thing, but the spellings are not the same. So it will show me an error message. You see, name error. So name error occurs when you make a mistake in the name of a variable. When you make mistakes on variable names, where you have not assigned a value to the variable, when you are calling a variable name which has not been defined. So any variable that has not been defined, it will show you error, name error. This is also a variable, but it has not been defined. So for now, is not a variable because it doesn't exist here. It doesn't exist here. So to correct this, you have to input the right. You have to input the right spelling. Okay. Once you put the right spelling, it will work. Name error. Why error message? Oh, sorry. This code here is still running. It says name error s is not defined. It means this code here is still running. Uh, since you're not making use of it again, I think I should wipe it out. Okay, let's run this again. Now that I have corrected the spellings to be the same with this one, let's run it again. As you can see, it prints out 5. Okay, now it's working, and then make sure you check the name spellings on the variable so you will not make any mistake. The fourth one here is type error. type errors in Python. Another common error in Python is type errors. Type errors occurs when you try to perform an operation on data of the wrong type. Hope you understand. When you try to perform an operation on data of the wrong type. For example, you might try to add a string and a number. You know that is not possible to concatenate a string and a number. Or you might try to access an attribute of an object that does not exist. Okay. For example, let's say s is equals to 5 and the y assigned to 10. Okay, s is 5 and y is 10. Let's say result equals to s plus y. Okay, then print results. Hope you understand what's happened here. S is equals to 5, s is 5, y is 10, result equals to s plus y. Then print results. I'm trying to concatenate these two. I'm trying to add these two and then get results and print it out. Let's see the error message it will give us. Now it says here type error. Type error simply means the two of them are not of the same type. This is strange and this is a number. You know, you cannot calculate or join a string and a number. Just like in normal sense, you cannot add an alphabet with a number. You cannot just say, okay, 1 plus a, which answer? No, you cannot do that. It's the same thing here. You cannot add these two. So it gives us type error because the two are not the same type. They are not of the same type. So it gives us type error there. Okay, for example, I think I should give you more example how to do that. Okay, these are some other ways you can receive this type error. You can receive this type error from the user input. Let's say s equals to input. Let's say you want to do some calculation first. You want to do some calculation. Okay, y equals to input. Now what I'm doing here is, okay, wait, let me complete it. Print s plus y. Okay, now what we are doing here is we are trying to ask the user to input the two numbers so we can calculate and then give them an answer. We are trying to ask the user to, hello user, add in the first number, add the second number, then we plus the both and give you the results. Okay, now okay, let me make it in a simple way so you can understand more. Let's say s result equals to s plus result equals to s plus y. Then print results. Okay, hope you understand. I will allow the user to input their first number, input the second number, then we join the two numbers they put and store it on results, then print results. Okay, we give them a final answer. Okay, now I run this program. It opens, it says enter a number, enter first number. Okay, now it says you enter first number. Let me say I enter 20 as my first number. I click enter. It says enter second number. Now let's assume that the user made mistake and then enter an alphabet instead of a number. Let me say the user entered G instead of a number. Okay, these are enter G instead of a number. Now the two cannot add, you cannot add the two together, so it will gives you an error message. Once I click on enter, it says 20G. Oh, you have to specify what you need here. Let me say int. Sorry, you have to specify, you have to specify it. Int. Okay, now you are expecting the user to enter an integer, to enter a number. Okay, this stands for integer, to enter a number. Let's run it again. Now it says enter the first number. I enter 20. Enter the second number. I enter alphabet. Let's assume that I'm a user. I entered a wrong, I entered an alphabet instead of a number. Now if I enter an alphabet, it will show me error message. You can see here value error, because the both are not same. The both are not same. It gives me a message. Although we are coming for this error message, I'm coming to explain more on value error. Okay, I will explain more for you guys on value error. Now this is how it works. You have to be careful and then make sure you follow everything how it should be, so you cannot fall into this problem. Okay, now that is for this. Now let us move into the other one. Before we move into the next one, I think show you guys I should show you guys how to correct that mistake. Before we did s equals to 5, s equals to 5, and then y equals to 10. Then the results equals to s plus y. That was what we did before, and then print results. Okay, we did it before and it showed us error message because they both are not the same. It says type error. Okay, now how to correct this type error message? Here s is a string and then y is 10. Y is an integer number. So how are we going to do this? We have to convert this string to a number just by adding ints. Okay, now let's run this again. It gives us 15. It gives us 15 because now we have converted this string to an integer. So an integer plus an integer, it gives you an answer. That is a number plus a number. Okay, okay, yeah, nice. Now the fifth, index errors in Python. Index error occur when you try to access an item in a list or order sequence using an index that is out of range. For example, if you try to access the fifth item in a list that only has 4 items, you get an index error. For example, you have a list of an item that is about 4 items in the list, and you want to access one of them and you input 5. You try to access the fifth item on the list while the list is only 4. You can't it can't work because on the list they are not up to 5. So it will give you an index error telling you that, guy, you want to access a fifth item in this list, why they are just only 4. So you cannot do that. It will break a code. It will give you an error message. Okay, for example, let me give you guys an example. Okay, here's an example. My list equals to 1 2 3 4. Print my list 5. Okay, now I want to get 5, but it's not up to 5 here. Let's run it and see. It says index error, list index out of range. It is out of range. The number I'm trying to access in this list doesn't exist, so it will give me error message. Okay, now to settle this, I have to reduce this to, let me say, 3. If I say 3, let us print. The third one here is 4. You see, the third one in this index is 4. Hope you know how we got the 4. Remember, Python, using index, the number starts with 0. So this one here is 0 1 2, then 3. So the third index here is number 4. Okay, here is the index number 3. Okay, now it works and show us 4. So that is how it works. So be sure and then know what you're doing whenever you're making use of index. Whenever you're trying to print out a number that does not exist, it will give you an error message. So here are some of the things you have to bear in mind, some of the tips to avoid when you're using index. Okay, now make sure you are using the correct index value for your sequence. Use Python's built-in functions such as len to determine the length of your sequence before trying to access items in it. Use len whenever you want to check the total number of the list. Use len, okay? Okay, now I want to check the total number of the list here. Okay, I want to check total number of lists here. Okay, before I'll try to get one, so I will not get an error message. Now it shows me 4. It tells me that I have 4 items in that list. Okay, now what I have to do, whatever I want to do now, I will not include 5, because I have seen that, oh wow, what I have in this list is just 4. So I'll access from 1 to 4, from 0 to 4. Okay, if I access 0, if I try to access 0, let's see. You can see here it prints out 1. It prints out 1. Okay, means number 1 is the 0 index, is the index 0 upon in this list. Okay, now that is how it works. Key errors occurs when you try to access a dictionary using a key that doesn't exist. For example, if you try to access the value associated with a key that hasn't been defined in a dictionary, you get a key error. Hope you understand. When you try to access a value that does not exist in dictionary, maybe you want to access a value called car, while there was nothing like car in the dictionary you created, it will give you a key error. Okay, now let us run this. Now I created a dictionary, name John, age 25. Okay, print my dictionary, gender. Now I want to print gender out of the dictionary. Here is the dictionary I created, and I want to get gender here. Let's see. It says key error, gender, and it marks it here, showing me that, hello, there's an error here, check this. Okay, now it shows me on line 3. Here in line 3, that was where the mistake is. I wanted to print gender from my dictionary, while I have nothing like gender here. I have name John, age, and then 25. Okay, now it will give me key error because what I'm trying to print out does not exist. Let's say I want to access John. Now name is assigned to John. Okay, remember this column here is dividing them. Name stands as the key, then John stands as the value. The same thing applies to here. Age stands as the key and 25 stands as the value. Okay, now I want to print John. Let me say name. If I enter name and then run it, it will show me name John. Okay, that's how it works. You can also use the get function. Once you use the get function and enter, okay, let's enter the gender we entered before and see what error message will give us. Okay, it says none. Didn't give us an error message, rather it tells us that hello guy, there's nothing like gender in your dictionary. It says none. Okay, now if I enter age, age is there, it showed me 25. So that is how it works. Attribute errors in Python. Attribute errors occurs when you try to access an attribute of an object that doesn't exist, or when you try to access an attribute in a wrong way. Okay, now let us run and then let me show you guys what I mean. My list equals to, this is the list, then my list dot append 5, my list dot add 6. Let us run this and see. It shows us list object has no attribute add, so you don't use add to add a number on the list. Okay, first thing you have to do is to avoid attribute errors. It's important to understand the different types of attributes and how they work. You should also make sure that you are accessing attributes in the correct way and that you are not trying to access attribute that doesn't exist. Okay, now for example, in this example, we are trying to add an item to the list using the add method, which does not exist for the list. Okay, we want to use an add method which does not exist. So here we use append method to add an item to the list. Okay, we use append method to add an item to the list. So if you use add method to add, it doesn't exist, and then it won't work. It will give you an error message. So we use an append. Remember, when we try to use add, it shows us error message. Now if I remove this man and then use append, it works. Okay, now let me say print my list. Now we have 1 2 3 4 and I have appended 5. See, 5 has been added. But if I use add, if I use add and run it, it shows us attribute error. List object has no attributes add. You don't use add on list. Okay, so instead of add, you use append to run it. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Subscribe to my channel if you are still new to my channel, and then I will show you more and explain more on this. I'm just rushing it because of time. I'm rushing it. I'll explain more to you guys on how you can use Python, how you can correct all these errors, how you can know where to use this and where to use that. I will show you guys more about Python. Okay, just click on subscribe button and also click on the bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I upload a wonderful video. Remember, in this one I did not fully explain this, but in my next video I'll explain more about this. The link might be on my description. Go to my description, you might get the link of the next video where I'll explain more about these Python errors and how to fix them, how to use them, and how to succeed more in Python. Okay, thank you guys for being with me. Thank you all, and then subscribe to my channel once more. Yeah, I love you all.